Once more to the moon. We are not at Japan this time around, Jamerson, where really I think we were on Hanamura like 3-4 times in a row. So it's actually kind of nice to have a change of pace here as Winston goes, yeah, I live down there now. But he dances on the moon.
That's my new home. But he's taking, a nice sojourn back to his homeland. But right now, LNL, they were able to tie it up against Mayhem Academy. This is Mayhem Academy's map choice here. And so, interestingly enough, they are going to go for an Orisa Diva defense. Just trying to mitigate a lot of damage coming out from LNL. But that does mean that they're lacking that threat of the Roadhog, who works so well with an Orisa.
Well, what they're going to be really focusing on here is having Zab be the punching power in the back, where you have Zab landing good damage on LNL. I think maybe they thought LNL would come in with something more tank heavy, but no, LNL, they're going to play this about standard is as you can, which is going to be a Tracer Genji dive backed up by Winston Diva.
Yeah, and so the divers of LNL will have to be careful. There is a Junkrat in play on the opposite side. So you have to watch out for that steel trap because you don't want to be caught right in front of a Junkrat who's just shelling you from 1 foot away now. They're able to make it to the low ground here. Kevster already in the back trying to force back the members. Mikey A is here to try and contest.
That was a nice help by Moopy early on. Actually hurt LNL from getting in as a unit to begin with. You have Kevster as a distraction in the back. The rest of LNL looking to regroup and come in via the front. So while Kevster is playing footsie with Mikey right here, you have the rest of the team going, okay, how do we get in? And right now they're actually very split. You have Decod leaping in on his lonesome. Nex is already very much hurt as he tried to move in, and LNL for now is getting held back. They haven't gotten a good way in, but Mikey got picked. Nex caught him on the flank, and now Mayhem Academy gonna have to fight their way out of a hole. You see how much more aggressive LNL can be now.
Yeah, but it was a 2-for-1 until Kevster took out Paintbrush there. You know, Mikey A, he was trying to take that 1v1 up against Kevster, but the rest of the members of LNL were able to get onto the point, and we saw Nex getting in on that battle. Not as glorious a battle as Mikey A wanted to be, and so now with that, LNL will be pushing forward onto point B with 6 minutes and 40 seconds.
And they also have a great moment here if they realize. You look at Paintbrush, he's at 87%. There is a window where if LNL does go in really quickly, like you can't just sit here and go, okay, do we go in a little bit? No, no, no. Don't poke, go in right now. You have a Blade that doesn't have a great answer for it, but that window is closing soon, and Reach goes for the window, diving on in, gets up, looking for more, and dashes away. Didn't want to go in on the Zenyatta there, but it's fine. Diva's already down. It's 2 setups here for LNL as they move in, and now the tank front line for Mayhem Academy. It's gone. LNL can focus and dominate on the point, but they let the res get off. They let Paintbrush get the res. He's so green at the reses, but it works out as Moopy, though, falls immediately. The problem is that LNL has lost so many people here that as they put in the barrier, I don't know if they're going to have the pressure that they need. Still, Mayhem Academy hasn't been able to reestablish. Paintbrush is under pressure. Krem's gonna fall in his mech once more, and LNL still making this work.
Yeah, LNL, they only lost Reach in that one. He'll get back into this as he swapped off on the Soldier 76. Decon has fallen, but still the man advantage so far for LNL until Za comes in to try and equalize this out. 1 tick over for LNL, very nearly a second, but will dummies frag onto Mikey A. There we go, Reach gets it onto Za, and now they're starting to stabilize. They have gotten the second tick. They are just 0.8% away.
Though they're really close. More off on the side, gets completely caught out. LNL still keeping the pressure up. Reach with plenty of room to work with. Finds Mikey A. Very good tracking here on the sides. Gets Za, another Helix rocket. The sniper with rockets is Reach, and that was a crushing performance coming up from Reach towards the end.
5 minutes and 10 seconds left. So it was so fortunate for them that he had fallen early on in that fight, because as he came back on that Soldier 76, he was able to just lay waste to the members of Mayhem Academy. With that Soldier 76, there was almost no pressure on him whatsoever because Mayhem Academy just had to stay on the point. They could not contest him whatsoever.
One thing I would still like to see from Mayhem Academy right now, and again, I understand that Mikey still might be playing with a bit of a ping disadvantage in the situation, but there's something to be said for not being over aggro, and what we saw in that last fight was I think Mikey was chasing into Nex a little bit too heavily, ends up getting picked off because he was chasing the D-Mech or however that went about, and anytime as a Tracer you were the first pick-off for your team because you were trying to do a little bit too much, it puts your team in a bind because as soon as Mikey dropped, you saw LNL just go, oh, okay, everyone's going to be all in, we're just going to pressure this from all sides because you don't have to worry about a Tracer chunking down a tank as you move in or pressuring your supports. You have that window of advantage.
Yeah, indeed, Mikey A just not able to have that standout Tracer performance that we do know him for. Becoming just a little bit of a liability so far now. We saw he was the first frag when they were trying to hold on point A defensively. So now, as they move over to the defense, he will be staying with that Tracer.
Attackers incoming in
Excuse me, on their offense. He'll be staying with that Tracer, so we'll see if he's going to do the same thing that Kevster did. Go into the back line, try to force someone to come down, try and contest him. It'll probably be Nex who peels onto the point, try and take on that Tracer. But this is what you have to worry about Kevster. He's been on fire all night long, and he is pulling out the Widowmaker for LNL.
He's pulling out the Widow, and we'll see just how effective this is, particularly on the defensive end. But the power for the defense here for LNL is that they are going to be trusting things to the Hog, right? And Nex was very good on the early defense for Hollywood. We'll see if he can bottle that up and do it again.
Bottle it up and do it again. Make Lightning Strike twice. He did get the highlight on Horizon last week also. So now, as the shells do come raining down, Mayhem Academy just avoiding it, making sure they're not giving over to ultimate charge. Great halt will put a stop to that monkey dive.
And the defense, Kevster already getting pressured out by Zen. That's a shot that he probably should have been able to land there early on. Now, back up, not in a great sight line. He might as well not be a Widow when you're in the situation as Mayhem Academy swarming for all ends. And Mikey, the redemption, gets 2 early pickoffs. A successful dive from Mayhem Academy, but my goodness, you gotta do more on Widowmaker than what Kevster did there.
Yeah, he just was not able to find the proper positioning there, especially when he had that opening to try and take out try and take out more. And so, neither team able to mount much of a defense here on point A. Mayhem Academy will be pushing forward, 7 minutes left on their clock. Luckily for LNL, they're not going to be able to snowball too hard. Za has now swapped off onto the Soldier 76. Ultimate still waiting to be built up. Mikey A almost has that Pulse Bomb, though.
And what you see from Za swapping there is that even though he's getting fairly close to Dragon Blade, that's how valuable having a Soldier on the high ground is here. If you take it early, look at LNL. Decon already getting chunked out, has to leap out of the fight. That means Mayhem Academy can fully set up here on the top. Za's going to have plenty of room to work with. Both LNL tanks were able to survive, but look at the positioning that's been given up here. And oh my goodness, Decon walks in almost alone. Next gets the backup at the very end. I guess it's enough to get more, but that could have been much worse. Still, Moopy, Primal Rage in and around, making space. Za with plenty of room to work with. This Moopy gets 2! Moving in and around, gets what he needs, and Mayhem Academy now close to a quick strike back of their own.
Yeah, they've already secured 1 tick here. Reach is on, gonna get the frag onto Paintbrush as Za answers back, though Reach still not able to do enough for his team. Now Mayhem Academy secures that 2nd tick as Za is in the back. He was able to use that tactical visor now, and with that, they're gonna finish it out, and finish out faster than LNL.
My goodness, and again, I would just draw your attention to the tank focus here, where to start out the fight, you had both Decod and Nex get focused down really hard, and then you had Decod and Nex move back in, but Nex was a little bit further away, wasn't able to protect Decod. He gets blown up immediately, and okay, you got more, but by the time Nex is able to get away, he's chunked down, and your tanks need to stay alive if you want to bring that back, because you think about holding a last point on Assault, right? If at least one tank is alive and around, that sort of gives you a transitionary period where, okay, you can wait for more people to come back out. You can't have both your tanks effectively get dumpstered in the beginning of a fight. That's not going to work.
Yeah, indeed. And so we'll see if either defenses are going to make an adjustment here, because we didn't see much of a defense so far coming out from either last night's leftovers or Mayhem Academy. Mayhem Academy on the defense now. They're going to go once again with, of course, Moopy and Krems on the Orisa and Diva. Mikey A will be picking up the Tracer here. Did definitely pick it up on their offensive side now. And Za will be, of course, once again on that Junkrat. But take a look at LNL's initial composition here for their offense. Reach is going over to the Sombra.
I don't really know why LNL would change things up here. There is the argument that their offense was going pretty poorly until they caught Mikey out, but it was still a quick attack. I don't think they have reason to change things up, but either way, they're going to go for it. It's going to be Reach coming around the side.
Reach coming around to the side. He's going to be on the backline duty here, try and draw back the forces of Mayhem Academy. It's actually Kevster already here. Maybe Reach is going to give him that extra oomph he needs. That hacked health pack is there to face off against Mikey A.
Well, you get the Sombra Tracer pressure on the point. Meanwhile, the rest of the team is coming up the front. The problem here is that Mikey's sort of able to hold this back 1-on-2 with the support of a Harmony Orb. So while Reach and Kevster are playing around back here, the front line isn't able to go in at all. Now they decide to move in, but look at how split up LNL is right now. They're burning a lot of time and looking for the perfect setup, and Mayhem Academy is perfectly happy with this.
Yeah. 2/3 of the LNL squad are still over at spawn right now. They haven't been able to deal with Mikey A at all. Reach actually losing the 2v1 right now. Mikey A just dominating in the back.
This is weird from LNL. They're putting so much in the idea of having a Sombra Tracer deal with the Tracer. Mikey's doing much better at holding them back. And look, okay, you have both of them contesting the point. What they want is for Mayhem Academy to leave their defensive position and then they'll move in, but it's not working. And by the way, speaking of working, here comes the tire from Zob, moving in and around, but LNL is so split up that I'm not sure if this tire is gonna hit. 3 seconds, 2 seconds. Finds Winston in the back, but is not, no, it hit the shield. Decod's fine.
Decod is fine now, but LNL, they have regrouped for the most part. Most of the team now here on the left-hand side. Kevster once again trying to take that TVT, forcing out the recall from Mikey A, but still they need to get more bodies onto the point. They need to pressure them. We do have both supports caught out here. Reach dropped down low, but he will finally finish off Mikey.
After a long game of back and forth, they finally get on the Mikey, and Mayhem Academy get to feel a little bit more pressure now. You see them moving from their high ground back onto the point. The EMP comes out from Reach and it connects, gets more, and hits plenty of Mayhem Academy in the process. This is what LNL was looking for. It just took them a lot longer than it probably should have.
Those slow goings indeed. We didn't get to see the nuances of that Tracer versus Sombra Tracer. I was imagining that, you know, Reach was gonna try and use Kevster as bait, get the hack off onto Mikey, and then Kevster would be able to eat him up. But Mikey was just staying light on his toes, keeping his movement abilities up, able to dodge all that out now. So Reach has swapped over again to the Soldier 76 as they move on to point B.
And there's no crazy momentum here for LNL. They're gonna have to play this war straight up. Mayhem Academy actually plenty of tools. They're gonna open up the barrier, but now you look at Mayhem Academy. Moore doesn't want a chance at using Transcendence early on. Za under pressure. Moopy, though, gets out of the Transcendence, ends up falling the dummy, and Paintbrush again. So risky with the reses, but makes it work. Moopy's back up, and we have a pause, so there'll be a quick break in the action. Maybe. I actually take no responsibility for how long a pause might be.
And I was getting into that too. Like watching Tracer get deleted, I was like, wait, and then it stopped.
Well, Mikey just kind of stood there, so I think there might be a network issue, unfortunately, for him.
That would probably be my guess, too.
I mean, we see a lot of great Helix rockets coming out from Soldier 76, tagging a Tracer, but he was just kind of standing.
Yeah, that was
standing still is also the move that you don't expect. You're just like, clearly he's going to go to the side.
Yeah.
So
it's the counter predict.
Can we just argue there was next all prediction of,
all right, we're back in.
Well, I said it would be quick. I was right. I had no reason to say it would be quick, but hey, I was right. That's all that really matters. We're back in. LNL still pressuring in on the point, but their opening is gone here, right? Where the barrier's already done, but they got Paintbrush. But the problem is, while this is going on, you get Mikey around the side, Za with the tire, and if this gets anything, that's the end of the push. A D-Mech, that's probably good enough, but they've given up 2 ticks. Bam, has to get back onto the point.
They do, and they are able just a moment. It was Za giving up his life for it, and now we're going to see Mikey A try to make his way on in. During that, though, he was able to take down Decod, and it looks like they are going to be able to stabilize with that resurrection onto Za, who instantly takes out Ajax.
That was weird. I think it just might have been part of whatever caused the pause there, but Mayhem Academy should have had the presence to prevent a lot of that progress, and they didn't. LNL almost sneaking that one away.
Very nearly 95.9%. Looks like we still have some issues right now. But, I mean, it is a great time to pause. I mean, there is downtime. They just won that fight, so.
My heart can't take this. Last night's leftovers. Like, I just can't. Because, like, I'm rooting for LNL.
Don't do this again.
I know.
Did you not learn your lesson from last night?
We established yesterday that the teams you root for lose.
I didn't draw a flag this time. I didn't. It's no flag.
That is fair. There's no flag. Maybe the flag had put it over the top. But
I feel like I need to get shirts from all of the teams that I'm cheering for, and then in between each of the maps, I'll just run out and put their shirt on and then come back in.
You know you missed the glory days of team logos and Contenders level competition, right?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. There was literally the FNRGFE corn dog is the most iconic shirt of all time. Actually paid for a lot of food and drinks for FNRGFE and escape rooms. I was in those escape rooms.
I feel like I miss all the cool stuff. All right, so getting back to the game, there's really not much to talk about because we saw for like another 15 seconds. But we did see LNL get pushed off the point by Mayhem.
It was a really weird push coming out from LNL there, sending both Kevster and Reach not able to deal with the Tracer in a Tracer versus Sombra. It was a really weird matchup there that it took them a really long time to break. It looked like there was some sort of breakdown in the coordination because while they were busy dealing with Mikey A, 4 of their members were still over at spawn, not really doing anything, applying pressure onto the other members. It was very wonky.
Well, the approach was very simple, right? The idea is that you throw 2 people on the flank, you put pressure by actually putting their bodies on the point, and eventually that's going to cause the team to pull people off the high ground and put them onto the point to contest. The problem is that Mikey actually did a very good job where he was getting a Harmony Orb from his end, and he was just sort of sitting there going, all right, I will fight both of you, and was doing it successfully. So if you're getting fought off the point by 1 Tracer, and you're investing 2 people to that, you're not going to have the forces you need to deal with 5 people that are up on top. So I understand what they were looking for there, but it was really good play by Mikey to sort of stop that from being a thing.
Yeah, I'm just still surprised as to how like a hack just did not go over his way. Because as soon as a hack comes in, Kevster jumps right on top of him, and that should be over. That should be the push for them right there. But it took them a good 30, 40 seconds to try and figure that out.
Yeah, I felt like there was a lot of hesitation, and you guys had made the comment about it. Just like it was almost like a Mexican standoff, like everybody looking at everybody else, but nobody really making a move for the point.
Well, again, the defense, they didn't want to pull anyone else out there to help Mikey because that would have been the signal for the other 4 members to move in. So they're just like, okay, we're going to hold on the high ground. Meanwhile, you have the offense going, please draw someone onto the point so we can actually attack this because we don't want to send people into this 5-man on top situation protected by Theresa. It probably won't work out well. And that's why you had that weird interplay where just they were stuck there for so long.
At the beginning of this whole map, LNL looked a lot more relaxed as they were pressuring Mayhem off that point. Oh, we're back in game. Let's go.
Winston reporting.
All right, we get back in game, and again, I'm not sure what tech issues Mayhem Academy might have had here, but it did make the last fight very, very weird, where I think normally they probably would not have given up as much, especially with the flow of the fight as it was.
Yeah, Paintbrush able to get away with some of the resurrections that he has. You know, he is using the Valkyrie. He's got the passive healing there. Keep him alive, but already going to start it off. There's a sound barrier, but the pulse bomb brings Nex down low. He will get demeched as Reach isn't able to find anything at all with his tactical visor, so he backs away now. LNL have to reset.
They invested a lot into this, and LNL, you say they have to reset, they're still kind of going, can we still fight? This is dangerous, though. This is where you lose a lot of time. With Reach getting dunked on over the top, that should be enough to take the hint to go, okay, yeah, we should probably reset.
Yeah, so LNL now are left with a minute to try and secure this final tick. Get that 4th point on the board for them here on Horizon. Committed a lot of tools into it. Like I said, they used they used the sound barrier along with the tactical visor. But Reach has been very accurate so far, so look to him to build it up really quickly for his team now. He still has a lot to deal with on the opposite end, most notably the rip tire from Za.
And for LNL, what you have to expect here is that they've been very predictable, and we all group up, we use support ultimate, we go in. However, what can derail that is a tire. Tyre's already taking a lot of damage. He's going to have to be a little bit more aggressive when he shoots in. Oh, is he going to get anything? Still gets damage on the Nex, but that's going to be healed up pretty easily. Both Nex and Decon going to take some time, get healed up, and move on in.
Yeah, that's going to be important because Ajax is sitting at 60% right now, and there you go. It's ticking up so much more rapidly, so he will have the sound barrier for this last fight. 10 seconds left for LNL as they're once again making that approach on the left-hand side. Early Transcendence out from Dummy.
And we knew that was going to happen. That's how LNL is engaged in every fight, but Mikey gets Kevster early on. They're already down 1, and look at Decon. Got the primal range just in time. He was almost poked down. That's going to keep him alive, but Krebs back up into the fight. Rezzed on in. Reach stuck without a whole lot to look for in the moment right now. And LNL, even though they've gotten 2, you can't be resting easy if you're Mayhem. You have to move in. They don't have much of a margin for error here. That's why you see more transcending in. Reach goes, your transcends is over. Here's attack visor, and Mayhem unable to stay on the point.
I honestly thought that was starting off really poorly for last night's leftovers because there was more of a panic Transcendence coming out as they were still trying to transition Reach on over further into the left-hand side. You saw how deeply he had pushed in.
Well, I will tell you why you thought that, because you are absolutely correct. It did start out really rough for LNL, where you're trading out early on, not good for the attack team. You don't want to trade a 1-for-1 in the beginning. And then LNL, again, they're very aggressive with their support ultimates there, but that was a very early Transcendence, and oftentimes it doesn't work out. The problem here is that, to a degree, it feels like Mayhem Academy is tentative and actually throwing bodies on the point, and they give up more progress than they should for free, because you think about how that fight developed. They gave up a lot of progress before they were actually injured heavily, where they didn't have much to give to begin with. It was a one-tick margin.
Yeah. And importantly, because Nex also didn't fall when that Riptire came in, that actual extra damage allowed Ajax to build up the sound barrier for that fight. So Riptire actually working against Mayhem Academy. Now, it's going to be LNL on the defense once again. No change-ups in the looks. Kevster once again on the Widowmaker and Reach on the Junkrat. We'll see if Kevster can have that standout performance he did on the defense last week. This week so far here on Horizon, he wasn't able to find much with it.
And note the differences in the offense here, where last night's Leftovers was going for some flank, some going up the middle. Mayhem Academy is all brute force. If this was Hearthstone, this would be, I go face. Well, that's what Mayhem Academy does. They're going to go face. At least that's what they did last time.
We'll see if they face check the high ground, though. They have to be careful because there is a Junkrat in play. A lot of CC, a lot of raw damage. Kevster here on the right-hand side getting some free damage off. Tries to focus down Paintbrush, but it's more starting it all off. Dummy is gone. Za on top of Kevster, and it's all Mayhem just tearing apart this defense.
Deja vu all over again. Again, they just dive on in with the split change of, oh, by the way, Moore's just going to get Dummy on the side. Why not? And this is a much swifter opening than we saw a moment ago, where LNL was like very much, we're going to finesse it. Mayhem Academy goes, no, we're just going to dive in.
And I like the allocation of resources coming up from Mayhem Academy there on that offense. Za knew that his singular target was going to be, of course, Kevster on that Widowmaker. So while the dive came out, his attention was drawn towards, well, the Mercy in the sky. Za just jumped right on top of him. Speaking of Za, he has now swapped off onto that Soldier 76. Mikey A taking the TVT.
Mikey on the bottom right now, the rest of his team in on the top, and oh, once again, aggressive and rewarded. Kevster able to follow up that early damage. Mikey A out of the fight, but again, Paintbrush able to get resurrections off, oftentimes that other Mercies will not go for, so Mayhem Academy can still work at 6. You have Mikey on the outskirts, again getting poked down, very low HP, able to rewind just in time. Meanwhile, Moopy getting poked down on top. Za's going to fall down, and with Moopy and Krems solo, it's not going to happen. LNL, a successful dive, led by Reach and Decon.
Successful dive indeed, but they have to keep doing that continually for another 4 minutes and 30 seconds here. Mayhem Academy, because they had swapped Za off onto that Soldier 76, is going to take a little bit more time for them to ramp up. Za only at 40% now towards that tactical visor. Paintbrush is going to be sitting pretty with that Valkyrie coming to his next fight. He's gonna need it because Reach, he will have that blade up soon. He's gonna need that extra movement. Oh, Za wishes he had extra movement as he just tanks all those orbs to the face.
Well, that's gonna do it. It buys some time, but not as much because of Mercy's being run here. Mayhem Academy running Mercy more aggressively than other teams in the sense of like just running Mercy in the situation period where there's not a Widow back to res or a Pharah to support. So Mayhem Academy gets to keep momentum up despite the early pickoff from Dummy, and they're gonna just lead in with the Valkyrie. Early Valkyrie, let's see how LNL responds. They do have tools, they have the Transcendence, they have the Blade, but next, gonna get DMAC'd early on, Transcendence or no. Reach, meanwhile, in the back. Nano Blade in progress, and does pick up Za towards the very end. And Paintbrush, he's so aggro and going for res, they knew he was gonna be there, and Reach just dives in with Decon because Paintbrush is predictable at this point, period.
Yeah, that fight was already over. He didn't have to go for that resurrection at all. Honestly, it just staggers him even more. And does put the res on the cooldown, but because they are resetting, he should have it back for the next fight now. But Mayhem Academy are still struggling to try and get Za onto the high ground, keep him there, keep that position for the Soldier 76, and he's also been struggling just to get the damage off. Right now, he's finally coming up to that tactical visor.
If I'm LNL, if I ever get a pick-off, I immediately send my entire team to dive right off because Paintbrush is going to try and res. Meanwhile, Za on the top in the opening, high ground, tac visor, getting knocked around by Winston, not going to be getting too much, the tac visor is over. LNL, though, getting poked down. Next is going to get DMAC'd early on. Decon doesn't have much in the way of help. Kevster in the back gets Moopy, and this is enough of a trade out here that LNL's probably fine on this defense. Mayhem has lost enough. Respawn's going to be coming in. So long as LNL doesn't lose one more person here, they should be okay, even as they give up a tick. Because look, Kevster's buying enough time, Respawn's coming back in, Nano boosted Tracer, no one can stop her now, at least that's what she likes to say, but not able to finish the Diva, still life in Mayhem.
even with the damage boost coming out from that nano boost, it was not enough. Ajax getting pressured, dropped down to 1 HP, has to run towards spawn now. He will survive, but Mayhem Academy still finding these frags. Next and Decod down, that's both takes. They are lacking HP onto the point. That's allowing Mayhem Academy to come in to clean up. Reach going in with the blade now, but he's only got tanks in front of him, gets spooked away, will not find anything at all as Moofy baps him away. So now Mayhem Academy, they're gonna have a third attack. 1 minute and 59 seconds left on the clock for them. No opportunity for LNL.
LNL having issues there, to say the least, but now 4-4. As you mentioned, LNL not gonna be getting another attack. Mayhem Academy, one more opportunity to get just one tick, by the way. But let's go back and revisit how early attacks have gone here over the course of the series. Well, it's very simple. LNL, they play footsie on the point forever on their attack. Mayhem Academy, they simply dive in and destroy LNL. So LNL, to some degree, they should be expecting what's going to happen here and just, you know, bend back earlier, realize that Mayhem Academy has no respect for human life and how they're setting up their defense, because there's no reason to change for Mayhem Academy. You send everyone at the top in the beginning, period.
Yeah, so LNL are changing it up. They are going to go ahead and put Reach on to, never mind, going to the Junkrat, but it's Kevster, more importantly, not picking up that Widowmaker at all. They want to be a bit more aggressive, a bit more proactive with Kevster, because before they just allowed Mayhem Academy to set up perfectly for their dive onto the high ground, which has completely demolished them. And so now Kevster is going to be that scout to be able to keep tabs on Mayhem Academy and make sure they can't dive in just flawlessly.
All right, well, right now you take a look at Mayhem Academy, and if you blink, you're gonna miss it, right? Because they have 2 minutes, and they're not gonna be the team that goes, oh, we're just gonna wait. No, it's gonna start here in about 5 seconds away it's gone. You see Mikey going around the flank. He's already on the point, and while he's on the point, look towards the main part of Mayhem. You've drawn the joke right back. That's who you want to draw back here. The rest of Mayhem Academy coming in over the top, but they lose more immediately. Kevster able to strike into the back, and both supports are gone. There's not gonna be any life-giving from Mayhem Academy, and for once, their early dive has been stuffed.
Yeah, this is shades of Kevster back on Hollywood, where he's finding those windows to get onto the support line there. And even though they were able to draw back Reach along with Ajax actually on that Mercy, because he was pocketing the whole time, it wasn't enough at all for Mayhem Academy to break through. Now they're down to 1 minute and 5 seconds here. They haven't even built up much ultimates. It's just Mikey A. Reach starts it all off. Moore's gone.
Moore's already gone, and Mayhem says, all right, we're still going back in. Why? You can res it back up. They are running the Mercy with this, but because they're running Mercy's end, they don't have the speed to be as aggressive, despite how aggressive they've been. And by the way, Mikey breathing the lack of air up there, moving into the side, almost got Ajax, going in deeper, sticks, connects, dummy out of the fight. Mikey now charging on in, getting rid of one support, gets decaught. It's Mikey A cleanup for days as he gets 3, and Mayhem Academy might have done enough here for this first tick.
Yeah, we do have the death cries of the Riptire coming out, but Mikey A is on cleanup duty here, taking out Reach as they finish this all off. It's gonna be Mayhem Academy now taking back the lead, putting them on match point 2-1 up against last night's leftovers.
So Mikey A's Tracer really made a showing in that. Like for a while, it looked like he was getting kind of outflanked and outplayed by Kevster on the last round of these, and this one, it's just, yeah, he really showed up.
Well, again, you live and die by Mikey right now, and I do think, again, I'm not trying to make excuses for it, but I think part of it is just the part where I'm pretty sure he's playing in pretty rough conditions for a Tracer, so that's what you're going to expect, right, is that this is Mikey in peak form, where he's in a good position, he's able to follow it up with superb aim. The downside is that when you're playing on a higher ping situation is that you're more likely to just give up early deaths, which was very detrimental to Mayhem Academy earlier in the map. So you sort of get the ups and downs with Mikey right now, but certainly the end there was very up, not just on the attack, but also his defense, where he was able to deal with both a Sombra and a Tracer for an exceedingly long period of time.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like after that pause, he just reset his router. It was like, okay, good to go. My ISP is working out perfectly now for, because towards the end there, yeah, he did really come alive. Kevster wasn't the same kind of dominating factor that he was on the Tracer beforehand. Taking those 2v1s, Mikey A did. It was pretty nuts to see.
One of the things that I find most interesting about this is kind of the psychology behind it. Like you guys were talking about at one point, Mikey A had lured LNL's Junkrat. out into the point, and you know, that was supposed to be the opportunity for Mayhem to then come around, but they kind of like dropped the ball on it a little bit. But how would he have known that Junkrat would be the one to follow him?
Well, he's just trying to look for anyone to drop, but my point mid-cast was that that's where the best people you could get to come out and look for you, because Junkrat's ideal situation is not trying to one-on-one a Tracer. Junkrat's ideal situation is laying in Junkrat fire to a clump of tanks and people coming up the main area. So if you're a Tracer coming in from the side and you've made a Junkrat, you know, get your attention, that's really, really good, because if he's shooting at you, he's probably not hitting you in most cases. Tracer can be reasonable at avoiding him in one-on-one situations. And more importantly, he's not hitting your tanks. He's not hitting your supports as they go up the stairways. So that was really good, even if it didn't quite work out as planned.
Yeah, I mean, the theory was there, right? You have the pocketed Junkrat to try and deal with Mikey A. If you land one nade on him, you just go ahead and throw out a mine, and there you go. You have the finishing blow. But Mikey A, he just stood, stared him in the eye, and said, nah, I'm going to stand my ground here, and you guys aren't going to be able to win this. So Mikey A was just playing really ballsy there, really. Up against a damage boosted Junkrat, I escape every time. I am not going to try and take that battle. But Mikey A, he is just one brave man. One brave man.
We have some playback here. This is Moopy on Winston. You guys want to break down what's going on here?
Well, it's simple. He dives in and is a little bit more aggressive than normal because he has Primal Rage. Then goes to the back line. His goal here is to disrupt people as they move back in, and that's what he does. Just diving on in, ends up picking up two, just leaping on one after the other. But the goal there is just disruption, and you get a few kills in the process. It's a cherry on top.
And yeah, and we're also seeing that Decod was having a little difficulty himself on the Winston on the opposite end. I mean, there were moments you had mentioned where he dove in too deep. Nex was right behind him. They were a little bit dislodged in their dive, and so they both ended up going down, and that's what really spelled a defeat for them on that defense.
All right, well, let's go to map selection, and LNL will be taking us on a trip to Dorado, your favorite place, CP.
Off to Dorado, and look, I will not deny it, I definitely enjoy Dorado more than Junkertown. I enjoy good old-fashioned Overwatch based on verticality in the gameplay. Not so much a fan of pirate ships. I have had enough of Pirates of the Caribbean, really, for one lifetime.
Pirates of the Caribbean 7, 8, 9?
I have
What are we on?
At this point. I just feel so old now. There's that far ahead in the series. Oh my gosh.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get started. We'll see how we do in Dorado. Perhaps LNL can bring it back.
And one thing to note for people who have not been following Contenders up to this point, and really just Dorado and what's been going on recently, is the idea that if you can get through second point, you're doing pretty well, because the trend in Contenders has been getting held on second point over and over again for many teams on the attack.
And it looks like LNL, they do have a swap coming in. Reach is out, Enlair is in. This is the first time we are seeing him in the series so far as we go to map number 4. And so, Kevster on the Genji now as Enlair picks up that Widowmaker.
And Enlair more of a hit scan specialist, and this makes sense. And you get Za early on. That's one of the best targets you can get as a Widowmaker. You deal with the long-range pressure from the other side. He doesn't have to worry about the soldier hitting him anymore. And already, the swap perhaps working out for LNL.
Sniper battles back and forth. Paintbrush was able to land a sleep dart. It sounded like onto a Winston, possibly here. So Mayhem Academy just doing a good job of trying to delay on the cards, but now they're losing bodies. Winston's gone, Paintbrush is gone. Payload is going to start pushing forward soon.
And Lar opened it up, pure and simple. He's doing better on Widow than anyone else we've seen from LNL here so far, and he's made his impact known. That does mean you have Kevstar and the Genji, but when you build 66% towards the Dragon Blade in the first fight, you're also doing pretty well. So LNL starting out with a statement here early on.
Statement indeed. Mayhem Academy wasn't able to do much at all. Zal was on that Soldier 76 that whole time, but of course, playing a Soldier 76 into a D.Va and a Winston barrier, it's hard to get damage off, so he's only at 17% now. Enlair, though, dishing out the damage. He's almost got the Infrasight.
And Lar, well protected in the back. Meanwhile, you look at Kevster, 80%, real close to Dragon Blade now. Mikey just stalking in the back there. It's like, oh yeah, there's Mikey. Meanwhile, look to Kevster, really close to a Blade, but they've lost Econ. Now, decision time for Kevster. Do you Blade into this fight? Do you still think it's winnable? Well, you're dead, so probably not. Mayhem Academy going to successfully retake the courtyard here and push LNL back.
So they will stabilize on this defense. Mikey A doesn't want to chase after that Widowmaker. Krems will, though, staggering that along with Dummy. So now LNL, even though they were able to successfully make it through that choke point, they got stopped just short of the checkpoint. And so now it's down 2 minutes and 10 seconds.
There's a bigger issue there, too. Not only did they get stopped just short of the checkpoint, but Mayhem Academy has built up an enormous war chest here. because they didn't have to use anything to take it back. LNL was just too aggressive.
And Lair, just looking for any angle here, but everyone is playing out of line of sight of him now. Even the D.Va just poking barely out from behind that payload. Mikey A starts backing away as he heard that grapple coming in.
Grapple comes in, Enlar, again, looking for early pickoffs. DCOD gonna use the Primal Rage pretty early here in the back for disruption. Meanwhile, again, look at Mayhem Academy. The Pulse Bomb didn't get much, but they still have everything else in reserve. Kevster looking for the right time to Dragon Blade, but he knows there's a Transcendence up. He can't really lead with it in this situation unless he just wanted to trade out. Now, Mayhem Academy gonna dive back in the other way. Whoopie in danger. Primal Rage is just in time. That was risky. Gets the Nano Boost for good measure. And now, even with Nano Boost, not able to go in on Zenyatta. They're gonna have to back out. Good disengage from LNL, and they can actually resume this fight.
They can, and Paintbrush is gonna get some good ultimate charge off of that Winston now. LNL still finding it difficult to try and break this really turtle hold coming out from Mayhem Academy. Pizza tries to push forward with that tactical visor. DCOD gets too aggressive, and he will fall. Mikey A taking out Enlair. That's been his primary target this entire time. Moopy will finish it off. The frag onto Kevster. They might even get the stagger onto the baby D.Va.
They are absolutely going to get the stagger onto D.Va there, and more importantly, when you take a look at just control and ult, Moore still has his Transcendence, so Kevster still has to wait with the blade.
Yep. He has not pulled it out once, and now they're down to the last 30 seconds. The problem here is that, well, Moore, yeah, like you had mentioned, has that Transcendence, but Paintbrush was able to build up another Nano Boost, so we'll look towards Moopy going in with that again.
What they would love to do here is force Moore to use Transcendence. The dive! He gets a Transcend just in time! He was almost bursted down, and Kevster falls! He can't even live to the end of the Transcendence to Blade! Has to hold it once more! What a response from Moore there on just the edge. It was like 0.1 away, but he does it in time. The cleanup is there, and Mayhem Academy might be holding LNL here, and they do.
First point hold coming out from Mayhem Academy. And oh boy, last night's leftovers, they were gonna try and tie this up, but it's gonna be an uphill battle. Looks like they might be running out of gas so far. Kevster wasn't able to do much at all. You know, and Lair also, just even though the opening volley was great for him, he found that first pick with that Widowmaker. Mikey A was constantly the tracer on his back, would not leave him alone. So now Mayhem Academy, they're just 79 short meters away from securing a 3-1 up against LNL.
Man, I know we probably didn't have a replay directly of Moore for how that was, but you just need the screen there, right? Where you just see Moore go down so low because LNL engaged everything to try and pick him off early, and he transcended at what couldn't have been more than about 20 HP. That is a backbreaker, but also very good timing from Moore to respond to a very just heavy dive by LNL.
Yeah, I like the hold that Mayhem Academy had. They were holding off onto the right-hand side within the apartments there. Zal with the Soldier 76, so they were just trying their best to keep him pocketed, to keep him alive, while Mikey A was just playing that distraction, making sure that the Widowmaker couldn't do anything at all. LNL just couldn't find a way to walk through the doors. They just need to press W, get in there. They were just way too afraid of the Nano Boost coming out from the Ana, along with, of course, the Biotic Nade. Just funneling in like that would have been huge, but you can't play that scared. You cannot allow yourself to play that scared.
No, and now let's talk about the situation that we're looking at here, where LNL has to have a ridiculous defense to beat the incredibly strong defense we just saw. It can't go beyond the courtyard, so LNL, they have to be very aggressive here, more so than the average Dorado defense.
Indeed. 4 minutes, Mayhem Academy on the clock. Mikey A might be walking out the spawn doors with this Hanzo, or is he just going to go for the check? That was actually a great mind game there. He sends out an arrow, baiting out the defense matrix, and then waits for the sonic arrow afterwards, but he will swap off now, going back to that tracer.
Mayhem Academy, meanwhile, they don't have to do anything crazy here. Just push the payload. Make LNL move to you because that's what they have to do. They have no margin for error here. Moopy gets slumped in the back, but he has plenty of protection. Doesn't really matter here early on, and Ajax lucky to get away with his life as he got poked down. He's still low right now. At some point, Dummy has to connect with him, and he does. But while he's doing that, you're not healing Nex. You're not healing DCOD as much. They have to back out with Ajax, and Mayhem Academy gets so much room for free.
And Zal's been getting some great poke off. He's already at 60% towards that blade now. 40 more, and he'll have it. Dummy is sitting 40% now towards his Transcendence. Moopy has gone too far, though, and he will fall to DCOD.
A moop too far, as it were, and that is where Mayhem Academy, again, they have plenty of time here. They can just back out. They can wait for a more perfect engage, and okay, they're gonna lose Paintbrush here. Full reset, 2 minutes, 53 seconds, one team fight. Still very doable, and you even got the Primal Rage.
Yeah, Dummy is still a ways from his Transcendence now at 75%. Za just at 91. So what I'm thinking is Mayhem Academy pushes forward with that blade. Paintbrush pops the Valkyrie and just follows him with a damage boost.
You just open with Valkyrie here. Really, Enlar is not going to be able to drill you out of the sky, barring something ridiculous. So Paintbrush, you use the Valkyrie early, you stay in the sky. That's what he does. And now look at Za. He has one thing on his mind, which is diving in. He takes a lot of damage on the intro, though, and ends up falling. He was 2 one-track mind. The tunnel vision gets hit by a train at the end.
Ajax shutting that push down. Sleep Dart comes out onto Moopy, allowing Kevster just to walk right on up with that Pulse Bomb, taking out that Winston. From there, it was just a great peel coming out from LNL, where they just kited away from all that damage. So now Mayhem Academy committed 2 big ultimates into that. So now it's down to 1 minute and 50 seconds for them to this next push.
The entire point where we mentioned, yeah, Mayhem Academy had time to burn, well, they just burned their time. That's it. Now they only have themselves to burn. 1 minute 44 left, about 2 to 3 team fights, and with Transcendence up, this is probably going to be one of their last major attempts here to do well. But you have to key in on, LNL's going to come in with the early Transcendence in all likelihood here. Dummy's going to come out to try and save Decon. No, Decon actually backs out early, healed up by Ajax. Moopy leaping into the back line. Enlar comes in with the Nano Visor, moving in and around, but Mayhem Academy able to sustain with the Transcendence of their own. Dummy transcends a little bit later. Now, LNL and pressure on the back. Enlar withstands, but not for long. Mikey moving in, focusing on the tanks. Mayhem Academy winning the poke war to a degree here as LNL is on their last life.
LNL have to be careful. Mikey A is still alive, and he's lurking on the left-hand side. He is into the back line. He's just poking onto Decon, who will challenge him for now. But take a look. Pizza's going in. He's got the blade. He's got all the support in the world. Dashes in. Isn't able to find the target quite yet. Finally takes out Dummy here. It's going to be a 2-for-1 exchange. Enlair is back into this fight, though. Gets the D-Mech onto Krems. So Mayhem Academy, they haven't quite stabilized on this offense. LNL have the respawns coming back into this.
LNL coming back in, but so is Mayhem Academy. It is a brawl on the point. Final 35 seconds. Series victory at stake here for Mayhem Academy. They get rid of Nex, but they lose Moopy. The tank situation, not ideal for Mayhem Academy here early on. Mikey, though, unchecked, 150 HP, gets one. Will he be the cleanup man once more? Moving in and around. Dummy falls, and Mikey just needs a little bit more. Pulse Bomb charge, is it gonna stick? Doesn't even have to. Decon down, looking for more. In and around. Diva in his sights, there's the stick, there's the D-Mech, and Mayhem Academy gets the cleanup they need. They will put last night's leftovers back in the fridge.
All right, so good job to Mayhem. They ended up turning that, what it looked like a lot closer game when we were heading out of map 3 there, but they did in fact come back 3-1 to LNL. How do you see things shaping up for them now? Because we were talking a lot about map differential and everything like that in yesterday's broadcast.
I mean, this is great. This puts them at 2-1 right now with a 3-1 victory. That gives them the +2, of course, in the map differential. Most importantly, it's great that now they are starting to find a bit more of their identity. They're relying less upon, of course, Za going for that Sombra because, well, we've seen throughout the series, he's been good on the Soldier 76. He's been good on, of course, the Pharah and now the Genjis. So he is widening his pool, and he's looking comfortable on all 3 of those heroes.
He is, and I think for Mayhem Academy too, the one thing about them is that all they need to do is just sneak into the playoffs, right? They don't need to be the #1 team. They're obviously dealing with issues where not everyone is playing from the same area, but we have seen from his previous teams, especially with a player like Mikey, if you can put him later on in a LAN environment, he's gonna do better. So Mayhem Academy, again, they don't have to be the best team. They just need to do well enough to get to the playoff stage later on.
Well, Mikey A played well enough to be our Old Spice player of the match. Let's go ahead and check out some Mikey A footage.
Is this Horizon? No, it's actually back here towards the end of Dorado, where again, he was cleanup. Even as the tanks were going back and forth with both teams, what do you have? You have Mikey just dashing in and around, not under pressure, moving very well throughout the battlefield, and eventually like D-Mech's the Diva at the end.
Yeah, I mean, it was less of a hand gym there. It was a full body workout for Mikey A, really putting his team on the back there. He really started coming alive on that Tracer. He had a slow start. Well, at the beginning, it was Kevster, but towards the end there, Kevster really just running out of steam, didn't have the same kind of impact that he did earlier on in this series.
So do you see, would you say that staying power is what LNL is lacking right now?
I mean, LNL in terms of going, I just think it was a little bit weird swapping out later than. I mean, I understand that Enlar is a very good hit scan, but it's also sort of, you swap people in towards the end, you also limit your ability to swap to things you've normally run. The idea was, let's bring in a Widow Specialist, and it didn't quite work out. More than anything else, I actually think LNL would have been fine on Dorado. It's just they overextended when they thought they had Courtyard, because it started out really well for them. Then they overextended, they let themselves lose a fight without drawing any resources out of their opponent, and then it's like, well, this isn't happening.
Any final thoughts?
I feel like, yeah, that Widowmaker was too much of a gamble for them, honestly. Mikey A was just doing a good job of consistently being back there. I mean, there were moments where Mikey was just standing, staring at him, waving, and daring him to look over his way. So Mikey, just huge play coming out from him. LNL, they need to figure out how they're going to deal with this kind of Tracer play in the future.
All right, guys. Well, that is a wrap on our very first matchup of the day, but we've got plenty more action. We're going to go ahead and get to a commercial break, but hang out because when we come back, it's Toronto Esports versus the Gladiators